www.xzone-radio.com.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, REL-MAR McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern right here on the Talkstar Radio Network and our fine family of growing broadcast affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, 20 Asian countries, and across Europe. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. That's toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My email address, xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, you can always reach us here in our studios in Hamilton at talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our two websites, www.xzoneradio.com. And you can watch, listen, and chat with the coolest radio audience anywhere in the universe at www.xzonetv.com. My producer at Master Control in beautiful Titusville, Florida, right across the Indian River from Cape Canaveral, is the one and only Miss Melanie. Mel, nice working with you. And my my chat room moderator at X-Zone TV is my good friend from Scarborough, Ontario, Rob. Guys, nice being with you. And X-Zone Nation, I apologize for Friday night. Due to circumstances beyond my control, I could not be with you, but I do apologize, and we will make up all the guests that we had planned last Friday night over the weeks to come. On tonight's show, Nancy Leider is going to be joining me. She is the channel for the Zetas, a group reputed to be from Zeta Riticuli, and here to oversee, along with other ETs, our evolution. Hour number 2, Mary K. Hole will be with us on talking how to protect your children online. Hour number 3, William Boolem will be joining me to talk about out-of-body experiences. And in hour number 4, live from the European Union in the beautiful city of Prague, my good friend Cal Korf will be joining us for an edition of Cal's Corner. Once again, 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. Our email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. Today is Monday, the 16th of the month of February, and on this day, Henry Wilson, Vice President Ulysses S. Grant, was born way back in 1812. In 1862, 14,000 Confederate troops surrendered to the Union General Ulysses S. Grant and were made honorary French soldiers. On this date in 1923, the very first newscast was broadcast. In 1923, the burial vault of King Tut was opened in Egypt. On this date in 1937, a research chemist from DuPont got the patent for his invention of nylon. And in 1959, Fidel Castro became president of Cuba. Today is birthday day, and to all the members of the X-Zone Nation who are celebrating their birthdays, to you and yours, a very happy birthday from the X-Zone family and the X-Zone Nation. It's President Day, honoring the 44 men who have held that office. Presidents, let me see, what else do we have going on? Tennis great John McEnroe turns 50. And remember Little Wednesday from the TV show The Addams Family? That was Lisa Loring, who turns 51 years old today. And Patty Andrews of the Andrews Sisters turns 89. When I come back from this 2-minute commercial break here on the X-Zone, I'll be joined by Nancy Leider. We're going to be talking about aliens, contact, watching our evolution, and much more. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Once again, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. Toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My name's Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone live and around the world from the studios of REL-MAR McConnell Media Company in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, exclusively worldwide and the beyond on the Talkstar Radio Network. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Our first guest this hour is Nancy Leider. Nancy became aware of her contactee status in 1993 and the potential for being a communicator of the Zeta message in the midst of a full-time life with a family and a full-time job. As a contactee, Nancy participated in the hybrid program and met one of her hybrid children. In preparation for her communicator role, Nancy was given life-form introductions and introduced to MJ-12 at an early age. Nancy expends her retirement time and money on getting the ZetaTalk message out. Requests for interviews take top priority, though. She quit a professional job in California in 1999 to move to Wisconsin to walk the talk. Born in Wisconsin, Nancy returned to her grandparents' homestead, where she first met the Zetas in the woods as a very young girl. There, she gardens, saves seeds, raises chicken, and tries to be an example of how people should prepare for the coming changes. As the ZetaTalk message is threatening to the establishment, who fear the populace will panic. Nancy deals with a lot of flack, and joining us now from Wisconsin is Nancy Leider. And Nancy, welcome to the X-Zone.
Oh, I'm so pleased to be here.
How are you this evening, Nancy?
I'm doing great.
Great, thanks very much for joining us. And I was wondering if you could just take us back down memory lane to the first time you had any contact with the Zetas and how old you were.
I think I must have been around 7 or 8 years old, and I was down in the swamp. They just sort of popped out from behind some trees, and I didn't get any nasty vibes from them. It was sort of like the fawns and the rabbits and the coons and the like, and
right.
They led me onto their spaceship, but they left the door open. I was a little alarmed, and I think they put an implant in my forehead, and after that, I was meeting with them regularly.
Now, how did this affect you as a child growing up? The fact that you had been chosen to bring the message of the Zetas to the world?
Well, actually, it was my choice. This is a common misconception that aliens choose people. There's the chosen. It is the person who chooses always to have contact, and the person who chooses their role. And even before birth, I had decided that I wanted to have a communicator role. It's actually worked out extremely well, was far more successful than they expected, and they've had to reassign a few Zetas to the ZetaTalk message because it has taken off beautifully.
What is the message, Nancy?
It's many-faceted. One of the most, they say there's going to be a pole shift in our near future, and before the year 2012. 2012 is too late. Mayan and Gregorian calendars were not lined up correctly. Also, they're saying that the world is in a transformation process. The Bible spoke to this when they said Jesus will return 1,000 years of peace, etc. What this means is the earth is going to be a home for the good guys. And as we reincarnate many hundreds of, and even thousands of lives, those who have remained selfish or grown into a more selfish mode will be removed and taken to prison planets. Those who have grown into being truly empathetic, practicing the golden rule, will be able to reincarnate on Earth. And those who are yet undecided will be hauled off to another kindergarten planet. That's Awakening is another one where we're going to see more UFO sightings, mass sightings, more glimpses of alien bodies. And also they have talked about what the government did during Roswell and since, MJ-12. That's kind of hitting the high points.
Now tell me, Nancy, how can we prepare without a specific date?
Well, they're not allowed to give us a date, and actually no valid channeling or communication from spirits or aliens is allowed to give the date, and it's because we're still living with the bad guys. We're in a mixed setting here. We have good guys and bad guys, and those who haven't made up their mind yet here on Earth. We're like a kindergarten where souls are young and first sorting it all out. If the bad guys learned the date, they would herd us into work camps, poison us so they don't have to feed us, know just when to run off to the bunkers, just might attempt to declare martial law and prevent people from going to safety. Therefore, they're not allowed to say the date, but they have given a series of steps as to the timing, how to determine the timing, so that actually you will not be taken by surprise. There's at least a 2-month period, which they call the last weeks, in which the North Pole tips away and into the 3 days of darkness for the Northern Hemisphere. And this is followed by, a week in which it's very gloomy and the sun doesn't seem to be rising from the east. And then our rotation slows to a stop. Rotation stops for 5.9 days. Then there's the hour of the pole shift. If you compute all that, it's about at least 7 weeks. And they've also said the pole shift will happen around the end of a December, the end of an April, or the end of an August, because those are magnetic trimesters as defined by the Zetas. Many of our crop circles show 3 balls and the like. These are depicting the magnetic trimesters. So, for instance, we're not going to have a pole shift the end of April because we're too close to that already. We'll be sliding into March, and you have to have a severe wobble and tipping into the 3 days of darkness, and I don't see that happening right now.
But we don't even know if it's going to be this year.
We don't know if it's going to be this year or 2010 or 11, but it'll happen by the end of 2011.
If they're giving us 3 months, why don't they just give us the month?
Well, as I said, when we get into the last weeks and things are starting to get chaotic, and we're having a lot of earthquakes and a lot more high tides along the coastlines, a lot more of those sinkholes and exploding gas and water mains and imploding factories and dislocating bridges and heaving roads and derailing trains, the type of thing that has been on the uptick since about 2003, then people are already alerted. They know something is seriously wrong, even if the cover-up is successful, and all admissions from the government are just squelched. People can sense, that they have prophecies in every culture that are similar to our end time prophecies. They're ready to run for the hills. They're ready to do something different. And if at that time people suddenly say, oh, red dust, and here we go, and run for the hills and leave their jobs and leave the coastlines, the government by that time will be too discombobulated, and people will be moving before any kind of martial law or the like can be imposed. So the assumption is, if they don't give a date, that people will be able to go to safety. Imagine a family in L.A., young children, and they have to work those jobs. They can't feed their children any other way. They want to know when the time is. When they see these end-time changes coming, they can leave their job and bolt, for the hills somewhere, and they won't get trapped. There are rich enclaves, for instance, in Utah, that would just as soon not have L.A. just kind of blockaded and drowned. And that's a fact.
Now, why would they like to do that? That doesn't make very much sense.
Well, because they don't want poor people invading their enclaves. They don't want people who are hungry, and without any kind of food distribution, coming up and pounding on their doors, or kind of like in the Middle Ages, where they had blockades around villages, until they starved them out. They don't want that happening. They want, the very wealthy have created enclaves, bunkers, stocked it up with food. And they plan on having militias defending them, but they would like to be in secret locations and not have the poor people that the mob, I guess is the way it's termed, invade their enclaves.
And this is people in Utah?
Well, I'm just throwing that out as an example.
I see.
That there are, if, for instance, the Mormons have said, have enough food to last, to keep you alive for a year. And this is broadly known.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so if you were in L.A. and you had nowhere else to go, it's up in the hills, let's go to Utah. They have lots of food. Everybody has enough for a year. And that's an example of a fear of the mob, migrating and thundering. And if the date were known, people in certain cities, coastal cities, would be blockaded. River bottom
Now, are
cities.
these visitors from Zeta, are they a highly advanced race?
Yes.
Then why can't they stop the turmoil that's going to be happening?
Well, do they stop it now?
Why not?
Think about what goes on. And our world has free will. It's a schoolhouse. It's a self-taught schoolhouse. They don't go in and stop the poor stick children in sub-Saharan Africa from starving to death.
Yeah, why don't they do that?
Yeah, why don't they? And stop pedophilia.
Right, exactly. Why don't
they?
Cure
cancer.
Right, why don't they?
It's because...
because they can't.
Having a perfect life is not the goal. Spiritual development is the goal.
Or is that what we try to tell ourselves, to give ourselves an excuse as the human race that we can't solve these things, so we're going to pass the buck, call it free will, and we'll be able to free ourselves of all the guilt that rides with it, because there are children dying in Africa, because there are homeless, because there are hungry, because there are those who are in need and are infested with disease. And if the aliens really were there and they did have the ability to traverse the universe, why don't they help?
Well,
let's talk about this on the other side of this commercial break with the news. Nancy Leider is our special guest. And we'll be back on the other side of the commercial with the news, right here on the Talkstar Radio Network. Nancy's website is www.ZetaTalk.com, Z-E-T-A talk.com. We'll be back. Don't go away. Don't get abducted. Don't get mutilated. Just come back. You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at www.xzone-radio.com.
Hi, this is Ken Elliott. When I'm floating around the universe, I always try to tune in to Rob McConnell.
Hi, ho there, Trinity Frog on Sesame Street. When I want to find out what's going on with UFOs or ghosts, I listen to the X Zone with Rob McConnell.
This is Les Corrigan from Target Internet Development. You're listening to Rob McConnell on the X Zone Radio Show.
This is John Hogue, prophecy scholar, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Of your face, I can remember smelling your hair, only you anywhere, somewhere that no one can retrace, somewhere where no one will know our faces. She has two arms to hold me, and four legs to wrap around me. She's not your typical girlfriend, she's my alien.
Welcome back, everyone. Nancy Liederman's our special guest, www.ZetaTalk.com. Now, Nancy, when I hear all these things about the aliens that are coming from different planets across the galaxy, and if they have the ability to traverse time and space, not to help this planet out, seems to me...
Hey, you're having the child's view. I need to be rescued. Where are my parents?
No. This is called reality. I think people who believe in aliens are having the child view.
Well, this is our schoolhouse. It's a self-study schoolhouse. There's a very little spiritual development that happens when everybody is beautiful, has straight teeth, and lives a trouble-free life, has no disease, like the jet sets, just lots of money, pampered. Very little spiritual development happens. When you experience pain in a lifetime, you have empathy for others who have that same pain in future lifetimes. If everyone is pampered and having fun, you're not going to get there. You remain selfish, and therefore it is the rules by the administrative force that manages our portion of the universe that young worlds are to have free will and non-interference. That's the rule. Now, they've determined that grows souls and grows mature souls faster than having a cushy life. We are supposed to rescue each other. We are supposed to take action. Are you taking action? Are you personally helping those starving stick children in Africa, or the folks that might be homeless and getting frostbite on their toes, in the northern cities as we speak? Probably not.
You're wrong. I am.
But we want to be rescued.
No. I think that when people start telling me about aliens from other planets, I think that they are using a world of fantasy to encompass themselves in a little shell that no one can hurt them because the aliens are protecting them. I think that anyone who thinks that aliens are actually coming here needs their head examined. I really do.
Well, you're obviously not a contactee.
No, I'm a realist. I'm a real human person. I'm not a nut.
Yeah, but I'm a contactee, and I have had so many signs as people who are contactees have.
All right. Give me some of the signs.
They know they're being visited. They know it.
Give me some of the signs.
And who's putting those crop circles down?
Give me some of the signs. Give me some of the signs. Give me some of your proof. Hard proof. Not just lip service.
Well, I don't have hard proof, and there is not hard proof.
You don't have any proof?
Crop circles is probably the closest thing you can come to.
Wow.
And mass sightings, like what happened in 1991 in Mexico City.
Yeah, well, they were drinking tequila a lot.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of home videos caught the same UFO display. And in 1997, the Phoenix Lights, everyone around the state saw the same mothership. It was not a holograph. There are mass sightings like that, and crop circles cannot be explained. They're put down instantly by per witnesses. The crop does not die. It grows at the node. It's bent at the node. It grows more where it was laid down than in the rest of the field. And they have radioisotope changes in crop circles that are not present in those other fields. Now this cannot be explained by man's hand.
So why doesn't everyone see these woo-woo effects, and only a certain percentage of the population does?
Well, that's not true. When there are UFO displays, everybody sees them. You know, Stratford-on-Avon had UFO displays within about a year ago, and Beijing did, you know, within the last year or so. Everyone sees them.
Yes, but we don't know if they're
It's not true that some people see them and other people don't. Because when they're going on, anyone who looks
You want to pot her
sees
down,
them.
please?
I mean, the police,
Right
the
down.
police department.
And keep her down until I ask you to. She's not going to let me talk. I'm going to do it my way. There's a lot of things in the skies. We don't know if they're UFOs that have come across the galaxy. We don't know if they're experimental aircraft. We don't know if they're experimental spacecraft. Now bring her up. So how do we know they're spacecraft? Is Nancy still there?
Yep, I sure am.
Okay, so Nancy, how do we know that these are real spacecraft and they're not experimental aircraft, they're not experimental spacecraft, and they're not hoaxes?
Well, you could use a little logic. We can't even get the shuttle up without blowing it up because of a faulty O-ring.
Oh, well,
we're not
come on,
that,
come on,
you know,
come
we're
on,
not that
come
good at
on,
what we do. We
come
certainly
on,
don't have
come
craft
on.
that disappears into another dimension or disappears rapidly, as our military and the military of other. France released the Cometa report, in which they talk about all the sightings and their own military's record, as the UK is doing, Chile is doing, and the US is refusing to do.
I think the U.S. has got more brains because there's not as many wackos here as there are there.
No,
well,
they
I
have
think
more
there's
to
one
fear
more.
about the alien, the cover-up that they've
Why? What do they
perpetrated.
have to
More
fear?
people will
What
be
do they
angry
have
because
to
they've
fear?
been harsher.
What
The
do they
Blue
have to-
Book.
what do they have
they've
to
been.
fear?
I mean,
Come
they would
on,
look like fools to say.
And
well,
people
guess what?
who
They
talk...
were there after
Wait a second.
all.
Hold on. You're saying that the United States government would look like fools by coming out and saying that there are spacecraft, or that they're fools because they're not saying it. I've lost track
Well, they're
here.
both, actually. If they come out and say, you know, we lied to you all those decades, they were there, what are people going to say?
Nancy, what kind of profession were you in before you decided to save the world?
I was a computer system manager and consultant, second-level manager.
Okay.
I developed computer systems, big ones.
Mm-hmm. Now, all right, I don't believe you, to be honest with you. I really don't. I think you lack a lot of credibility.
Well, what can I do here on the air to prove it to you? And the point is, you wouldn't be convinced, even if I, gutted myself trying to convince you.
I've been doing this show now for 16 years, and I've heard every Tom, Dick, and Harry's account of what they can't explain being a UFO. I've also heard the poor excuse of the world that the aliens, even with all their knowledge and all their scientific advanced way of engineering and all their this, all their that, they won't help this planet because of the prime directive.
Right.
I don't believe it.
Well, you're not going to be rescued no matter how much you fuss. I'll tell you one thing I would invite the listeners to do is go to my website
and
in
buy
the
your
videos,
books.
and in the videos, watch my videos on ZetaTalk accuracy. They take about 8 minutes total, and it's 16 different examples of where the Zetas came out and made a statement that later, years later, proved to be correct according to man's knowledge base. In other words, they made statements about things that man was unaware of that later proved to be true.
Such as?
They're highly accurate.
Such as?
And that's why they have the fan base that they do.
Such as?
Well, one of them is the sun's magnetic alignment. You know, NASA's always saying every 11 years, whoops, it flips. South is north and north is south. That's not true. They said that because of the way sunspots kind of blipped around, and they said that must be what's going on. But actually they had a probe, the Ulysses probe, that went out in 1994 and went around the sun and was coming back around 2000 and 2001. So in 2000 they said, oh, the poles have flipped. South is north and north is south. Their own Ulysses probe went around and said, nope, nothing has changed. So NASA said, oh, well, maybe the sun had two south poles temporarily. But their own probe proved them wrong and proved the Zetas right. That's a fact. The Ulysses probe.
Now, you talk about the Zetas. Where do they come from? Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah, Zeta Reticuli, not any of the stars that we know, because their suns were dim. There was many planets that the the Zetas were transplanted to in Zeta Reticuli. We're also genetically engineered. Our, Neanderthal man disappeared, modern man popped up, the missing link is never found. We've been genetically engineered and will in the future also. So the stars that they come from are not bright enough to be seen by us as stars.
Okay.
The star systems, I should say.
What about Planet X?
Planet X arrived in 2003. The government doesn't want you to know that, but that's what's been causing our weather problems. And by the way, the Zetas predicted our current weather in 1995. They also predicted the current crop shortages we have. Everybody laughed. What a bunch of ridicule. Well, boy, has it come across big time. They can't disguise anymore that there's crop shortages worldwide. The Zetas were the only ones to predict that in 1995. It arrived in 2003 and is creeping past the sun and is going to zoom out sometime before 2012. It's coming at us.
All right, what happens, Nancy, come December 21st, 2012, and everything you've talked about tonight hasn't happened?
Well, I would ask Jason Rand the same thing, I guess.
I always do.
Well, I would, as far as I'm concerned, the accuracy track record the Zetas have...
That's not what I'm asking you. I asked
what
you...
am I going to do?
Yeah.
Other than put my head in the toilet, I guess. I don't know, and flush it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I have no plan because I don't think that's going to be the case.
All right, why hasn't there been a mass landing?
Because there are rules against that.
Rules.
Like I said, it's a schoolhouse. We're young souls. We're choosing good and evil. Well, the bad guys can come down and they can do counseling. It's kind of like drug pushers outside the schoolyard fence. The good guys and the bad guys are standing around saying, "No, don't take the drug. Don't listen to him," or "Come on, kid, it'll make you feel good." And so it's counseling, but they cannot interfere with our lives. It's like the little angel on one shoulder and the devil on another. And the rules say there cannot be a mass landing, colonization, eating humans. Otherwise, it would have happened. Why would they not have done it if they could do it?
Because they're not there.
Oh, well, that's another...
Hello?
Yeah, I know it's scary.
I don't find it scary. I really don't. I find it ludicrous. I find it hysterical.
Well, explain crop circles that are bent at the node, continue to grow, are not crushed, and are laid down in seconds.
Now, how do you know?
Is that all a lie?
How do you know they're laid down in seconds?
Well,
have you seen it? Have you seen it for yourself?
I trust the eyewitnesses. And we have a lot of them in the UK. There's a lot of crop circles laid in the UK, and they have witnesses that say it was laid down in seconds.
Tell me, why are there a lot more crop circles in the UK than anywhere else in the world?
They're intelligent, and they do a good job at recording and reporting what they find. Maybe they also have the crop to spare. They're all a little chubby over there. They're being advised to eat less. Crop circles laid down in a poor country, you're not doing any service to those people.
Well, why don't
you'd ruin the crops.
So why don't they drop crops in the area of the world where the people could eat? Take the crops from one place, put it to another place. That works.
Well, maybe that's considered breaking the rule of non-interference.
So are you telling me that the Zeta Reticuli visitors that come here are actually the gods of the past?
Not gods at all, no. Actually, the Anunnaki were probably considered some of our gods of the past.
And how do we know that?
Because they, there's a lot of record of like the gods of Mount Olympus, the German Visigoths, who built the pyramids, the great, the large stones too large to lift. Some of the structures in Peru, stones too large to lift, and the like. The Anunnaki had the ability to levitate these stones, and that's where, like, the legend of El Dorado and the like came about. There's anyone who wants to read Zechariah Sitchin's book, The 12th Planet, etc., and he details what the ancient Sumerians knew. One interesting fact was that the ancient Sumerians knew about Pluto before we did. We learned about it in about 1930. Well, the Anunnaki are on that planet that zips through Planet X, and they were counting the planets from the outside in, not from the sun out. So that's pretty solid evidence to me.
But you're basing your evidence and your belief on everybody else's work.
Well, my goodness, let's just all burn the books. Let's not read.
Well,
let's just have our own thoughts. I mean, what kind of a statement is that?
I agree with reading. I agree with reading. I think reading is a wonderful thing.
Do you have a book that you've read that you believe? Where someone presented a fact that wasn't something you personally saw that you believe? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, Superman. I love those comic books.
There you go, and you've got to be real, huh?
Well, come on. You're talking about things that you cannot prove. You cannot offer any evidence except your word that you actually met these aliens and that you know for a fact this is going to happen because the aliens have told you so. And if the aliens were here, why haven't they given you something that you could present to the non-believers and skeptics like yours truly to shut us up once and for all?
Well, there's the rule, not only of non-interference, but called the element of doubt.
I see.
And that
all right, I've got to take my break, and that's not a doubt, that's a fact. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. And thank God for commercials. 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. Email xzone@talkstarradio.com. And on MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break if I don't get abducted by the Zeta Reticuli people because I don't believe in them. As we continue live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, and who knows, maybe even Zeta Reticuli on the Talkstar Radio Network. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Emergency? This is Elijah. What? Elijah. You know Elijah? No, I don't. Well, they know me down at the police station. Why does that keep beeping like that? It's on a recording. Oh, hey, a recording. That's good. You're not being recorded? Yes, sir. Hey, that's great. I want everybody to hear about me. Pretty soon I'll be world famous. That's the truth. I'm going to Jerusalem pretty soon. God's going to take me his way, a spaceship. UFO, you better believe it. They're everywhere. Everybody, millions of people have seen them all around the world. Well, that's great. Yeah, that's right. And God bless the police officers and the scientists and the ordinary people that talk about these UFOs, so they do exist, and I know all about them. I'm a ufologist. I'm the #1 scientist on this planet. I'm an authority on them. I'm a scientist. Okay. Have you heard of Albert Einstein? No, but I'm going to have to go. I got other images. I can explain it to you. His problem with relativity. Well, I don't have time to hear Einstein's theory of relativity. But it's very simple. E does equal MC squared. That's right. Okay, Emmanuel equals from the side coming the second time. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Einstein was a Jew, and I'm a Jew, and very few people in the world understood him. That's right. I'm an engineer, I'm an electrician, a plumber, everything. I can do anything. Well, that's wonderful. And I'm the world's greatest entertainer. Well, I'm worth about $50 million a year. Elijah, I got to go now. Okay. God bless you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, what can I say? No, I guess there's only one thing I can really say, guys. You ready? There you go. The shotgun blast says it all. Enough is enough. Goodbye. Report me to the aliens. Oh, brother. You know, there are a lot of people who come on this show, and they talk. They're pretty convincing. And even if they're not, they, just a sec here. They try their very best to be congenial. They try their very best to be knowledgeable. Like, they're not computer programmers or computer engineers. Thank God. According to Nancy Leiderman, Planet X was already here in 2003. The government is lying. She was abducted when she was young, but she only decided to talk about her abduction scenarios and her abductions after 1993. Well, you know what? I don't buy any of it. I really don't. However, Exonation, if I'm wrong, send an email, exone@talkstarradio.com. Or if you think I'm right, send me an email, exone@talkstarradio.com. So let's see, we're not going to have 2012. It's going to be before 2012. It's going to be in 1 of 3 months, but they can't tell us which month because that would violate the code of ethics for aliens who are visiting this planet. Yeah. Boggles my mind. But I guess some people will do anything to sell stuff on the internet, won't they? When we come back from the news at the top of the hour at 6.5 minutes past, we're going to be talking to a lady who's going to talk to us about protecting our children online. 1-877-528-8255 is toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone on Talkstar.